Eat your heart out, guys. I'm Cannibal.
And I'm Memow.
And we're here to talk about Phantasy Star 2 Online, which goes live tomorrow with the online open beta. So, Memow and I have played the closed beta, and we had a freaking amazing time, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely a really good time, especially for me. I'm not very good at anything that's focused a lot on both moving and looking and also shooting. So really nice that it's third person, and you can kind of just get away with a little bit more with that.
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, Memow is really new to video games. In preparation for Phantasy Star, she's actually been playing Medieval, right?
Yeah!
So the remake of Medieval 2 is what she's kind of been playing to get her gaming sense up a little bit. But it is going to be different with an online game, multiplayer. Fortunately, it's PvE, so skill isn't a huge factor. And as always, she's going to have me there to kind of carry her in the moments when things get super tough. I think we did a pretty good job of that in the beta, actually. We didn't have too much trouble.
Yeah, I think the main thing with the beta is the fact that there were so many people on that any kind of challenge that was supposed to have been an acro challenge was just kind of really easy. Didn't last more than 5 seconds at the most, which is really cool if you're trying to get a whole bunch of XP, a whole bunch of stuff early on in the game. But if you're really into a huge challenge, probably not going to be the best thing once you first jump on, just because it's so popular.
Yeah, so definitely the challenge and the difficulty spikes at a certain point in Phantasy Star. I have played the computer version that's been out for 7 years, so I have a little bit of experience with it being at its more difficult portions. But in the beginning, in the beta, they were running these timed event raid type things is the way to put it if you're not familiar with Phantasy Star. They're emergency quests, and they're supposed to be super difficult. And when we jumped in, there were basically just so many people there farming these events that everyone kind of got in a groove. So even if you were extremely underleveled, you were still able to kind of take part, and other players could res you and things. And we had a great time. I think we went down, or I know you went down a few times, and people were resing. So we really had a great time with the community aspect of it and just how helpful all the other players were. They weren't just going to let you lay there and die and not be able to play the game. Everyone was very positive about resing and helping out, which was nice because there were definitely people in the beta like Memow that were extremely unfamiliar with how Phantasy Star worked. We know the UI is really weird if you're not used to it, right?
Yeah, it's I think very much still kind of used to being on a computer, just because the menus itself are really hard to navigate, especially if you're unfamiliar with navigating menus just in general. There's a lot of tabs, there's a lot of different move combinations that you need to get to from your tabs, especially if you're playing certain classes. Summoner class is really fun, but it's fairly difficult as far as knowing where your monster needs to go, where their moves needs to go, if you have double of the same move. So it's really something that I think maybe they might have to tweak on, especially with your playing people that are on the actual kind of Xbox or whatever, rather than a PC, where it's super easy to click on your mouse, but not super easy to scroll through with, say, your stick or your D-pad.
Yeah, so basically the menus use just too many buttons to be super easy to navigate without being familiar with it. Sometimes you use your D-pad, sometimes you use your triggers and bumpers, and it's kind of hard to know which one's which, but it is something you will get a handle on. Even Memow got to a point where she was navigating it pretty easily just through practice, but it is definitely something that's going to be really weird because you can tell it is really just the PC menus kind of ported over, and they did the best they could, but it's kind of janky. She touched on the classes. Memow is playing Summoner, which I know she loves. I'm currently playing Force classes, which is the Mage, but Summoner is really cool. You actually have your own pet, and you don't do attacks. You kind of just direct your pet as to what to do, and they do the combat for you. You're kind of just telling them through inputs what attacks to use, and you're standing at the back of the fight, not getting hurt, which makes it a really good class for people that maybe don't have the timing to be pulling off just attacks. which are what a lot of the melee classes are going to be focused on, or are just too intimidated by being in the middle of a fight, because there really are no tanks in Phantasy Star, so you want to get your dodging down, and you don't really have those defensive abilities as much in this game. It's not really that type of MMO. But Memow seemed to be doing okay with Summoner. It is supposed to be the most complicated class in the game at this point, but even as a new player, I would say you got the basics down, right?
Yeah, I think the main thing is trying to find a monster or a pet that really kind of fits you and your playstyle. Each one's a little more unique, a little more different. I definitely enjoy the ones that have a little more like power to their punch, whereas some tend to have that build up, so you have to do like a combination of attacks before they get really strong. I, however, because I like to be farther back, I don't like to be in the middle of it. There's less chance for me to get injured if my monster or pet can do more damage from the get-go. So I like Synchro a lot. I think he's really neat. He's probably one of my favorites currently, just because he does have like that power going on for him.
Yeah, so what she's talking about with build-up is there's probably the strongest out of the pets, as far as I know, is basically this cute little ball of fluff that you make attack the monster over and over, and it basically builds up to a nuclear blast, and then you chunk it and it explodes for massive damage.
I hate him so much.
But in the meantime, yeah, you're not doing a lot of damage until that big explosion. So Memow's kind of avoiding that and going more for just things that can get in quick and deal consistent damage over that build up, which is probably a mechanic for more experienced players in general. I think that there are definitely pets that cater to a new player like Memow a little bit better. Synchro is really cool. They also have pets that do more magic-based attacks as opposed to physical attacks. So as a summoner, you can kind of have the best of every world, and you can switch pets on the fly. So if you're in a moment where you want to run your physical pet, then all you have to do is cycle your tabs, go to physical, use that pet, and then when maybe a monster backs up or is at a distance, maybe you switch over to your magic pet. It's just a really cool class. I really think it's just really cool. It's not for me, like I said. I've been playing Force, which is the mage, kind of just unleashing gigantic explosions and ice and awesomeness. It's definitely just where I like to stay, but the melee classes in the game are also fantastic, and there's also ranged classes, which are so good if you're into third-person shooters or first-person shooters. Then you're going to have a lot of fun, and you're going to be able to just jump in and grab Ranger and play the game just like you would a Halo or a Gears of War or something, and just have a fantastic time alongside all the people that are playing like Monster Hunter style with their giant greatswords and stuff. So there's just so many different ways to play the game, and I think that's what makes it so fantastic and what makes us so excited for it. It's, like I said, it's going to be basically Memow's first real MMO, first ever MMO, right?
Yeah, actually, I've never really played an MMO. The most that I typically play would be like adventure kind of puzzle games, like shit like Costume Quest, just kind of real basic stuff that doesn't take a whole lot of effort. So I'm really excited about this, especially with it being a little more difficult for me. I think it's going to be really, really interesting, and of course I'm super excited for my massive tits on my character, because that's just something that like everyone just aspires for, this really cute like little anime person with her big tits and just this super cute little face.
Yeah, so her character is adorable, admittedly. It's hard in combat to not get distracted by her. That's why I play Magic and I stand in front of her, so I don't have to be oogling her boobies when I'm getting attacked. All right, we're off topic, but we are playing. What race are we playing? Because there are a few different races in the game. There's human, Newman, Dooman, and Cast. So the Cast are giant robot mech things. If you're into Gundam, you're going to want to play a Cast. They're supposed to be the best rangers in the game, although keep in mind, every class can be everything in this game, and you can switch at any time. So if you're playing Ranger and you're like, all right, I'm done with this gun thing, it doesn't do it maybe as well as Gears of War or something like that, you can switch it up, grab a sword, grab a staff, and just at any point in the game switch up whatever you're playing. There's actually a really good thing people often overlooked in the closed beta we played. There's actually practice missions where they give you a set of whatever class practice mission you're doing, and they teach you how to play that class. So if you're going into the game new with the open beta, please, as soon as you can, go to the counter with the quest giver and look at practice quests. The game's gonna try to get you to do it, but it's easy to ignore. I know it took me, I probably played for 8 hours before I even noticed the practice quest tab. But it definitely, I was already playing Force, but when I did the Force practice, I learned how to like combo my magic even better. So even if you think you know what you're doing, or you think you know a class you like, go do those practice, because they might show you some tricks to maximize your damage and play the class a little bit easier. But we are back on the races. We are Doomans?
Yeah, we're Doomans. They look really similar to, I don't know if you've ever seen that time I was reincarnated as a slime, but they look like the ogre people once they've been upgraded and gotten names. Pretty much the same thing. You got the horns, you got like the odd colored skin, so a lot of fun. And
if you haven't seen when I was reincarnated as a slime and you just heard the word ogre, I promise they don't look like ogres. They look like, they look basically just like half demon people. Like the game is just cute in general with its art style, so you look like a human with some horns and just very anime. It's pretty cool. But there's also Newman, which is supposed to be the best at magic, and Human, which I think are all around pretty solid classes. Again, what they're best at doesn't matter. The stat increase you get for, say, choosing a cast as a ranger is gonna make you like 0.001% better than like a human playing a ranger. So those aren't things you should really worry about. Just pick the race that you think looks badass and play that. You can't change your race at any time, but you can have multiple accounts. I think you could have 4 different characters on the server is what I was seeing. It might be more, but you can always do that. So that's definitely a thing. I know we have multiple characters because we were trying to jump in during the closed beta and it kept kicking us out. So I ended up with 2 characters at least. But yeah, we're super excited for this. If you're new to us, then we are Cannibal and Memow. We're on YouTube and we stream on Mixer. Basically, our content has 2 screens. So when you're watching us stream or you're watching our YouTube videos, you'll see that at the press of a button, I can switch between my screen, so you viewing my gameplay, I can press a button and you can view whatever is going on Memow's screen. So it just makes it for some really, I think, fun content. I hope you stop by and check it out. Definitely, you'll be watching someone that is moderately good at video games and a complete noob. I call it the teaching my girlfriend to play video games channel. That's kind of what it is, because Memow just has so little experience, right?
Yeah, most definitely, but there are plenty of times where you will see me absolutely save his ass, which makes it the best of times. So, definitely worth a watch. There
you go. So, again, you can check us out on Mixer and YouTube, Cannibal and Memow. We hope to see you there, and it is March 16th. So right now, you can download an update for Phantasy Star Online 2 on your Xbox, and tomorrow, the 17th, you can go in and play the open beta. We'll be there, we'll be streaming, we'll be creating YouTube content on it, and we hope to see you in-game. I promise it's gonna be awesome. Eat your heart out, guys, and we'll catch you next time.